Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you my first alternative project using the May 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Celebrating in Color. This fun kit created 10 cards. You're going to get 5 different designs and 2 of each card. And what I like to do is take the contents of the kit and create my own cards. And if you're interested in seeing me unbox this kit so that you can see what came inside, you can watch my unboxing video and I will link it up here in the top right corner. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button and then the bell for notifications. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and help you with any of your paper crafting needs. To purchase any of the products you see me use today or to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, please visit the links below in the description. One thing that I did love about the cards that came in the kit was the monochromatic color scheme. And so a couple of my alternative cards did keep that theme. This one is the Sweet Sorbet. And then I did the same in Tahitian Tide. Now you may also have noticed that I've used some extra stamps for these cards. And I decided to pull in the Happiness Abounds stamp set. And what I like about this stamp set is that it has some really nice, clean floral images that I can stamp on these monochromatic cards so that you can still see through them to the color behind them, but it also provides a nice, interesting pattern that will add a lot to your cards. And I also pulled out another stamp set that I think could also go well with this. This one is the Painted Poppies. You can see here that we have some more linear floral designs that you could use in place of the Happiness Abounds. So let's go ahead and get started making these beautiful cards. So let's begin with the Tahitian Tide. My first step is to stamp these linear floral images onto my Tahitian Tide banner. And I am going to stamp them with the basic gray Stampin' Spot that came in the kit. I have my images already on some clear blocks. And I'm just going to go ahead and ink these up and stamp them directly onto the banner. I like to start with my larger images first, and then I can fit in the smaller images around those large ones. So when I'm all done stamping, this is what it's going to look like. The next thing I need to stamp is the Just For above the gold embossed U on my circle label from the kit. Just like that. So another thing that I'm going to add to my card is some of this gold thread. And I'm just going to take about 13 inches, add a little adhesive to the back of my label, and then take the center of that thread, place it on the back of my label, and then just go back and forth to create a faux bow. Next, you're going to take the banner card base, fold that in half on the score line, adhere your banner to the inside, just like the original card. Then I've got some dimensionals on the back of my label, and I'm going to place that right over the banner. So it's going to look something like this. So then the last thing I'm going to do is to add some of these enamel dots that came in the kit. And I'm going to use 3 of the Tahitian Tide just to keep with that monochromatic feeling for the card. And our first card is all done. Okay, so for our second card, This card has a lot more fussy cutting. It has a lot more layers. And so it's going to take a little more time than our first card, but I'm going to walk you through how to create this card as well. One of the very first steps is to create the images that you're going to add in the upper right corner. And I loved this ombre envelope, and this is the inside part of that envelope. And I'm going to stamp on this pattern here. And to open up my envelope, I just like to cut around the edges with a very small border, and that's going to open up your envelope so that you can use that pattern. I'm going to be using the same floral stamp set, the Happiness Abounds, and I liked having this larger flower a little bit lighter, so I'm going to stamp it here near the bottom. And then I've got this rose medium-sized flower that I'm going to stamp above it. And then I'm going to do a couple of these leaves. I'm going to go with one that's darker and then one that's lighter. Just like that. And you can see that you can use 1/2 for one card, and then if you need to make a second one, you can use that same envelope to make multiple cards. So I'm going to now take this and fussy cut these out. So the next step is to create the background for these flowers. And there's a couple extra steps. You can see here that I've added some black cardstock to the inside. Let me show you how that looks. We're popping up this center panel here in the middle. The reason for that is because I have fussy cut out the word you, and then I cover that up with the inside part. So there's quite a lot of little steps here. So let's just go through each one a little bit at a time. So you're going to take the gold U card base, and you're going to trim out inside of this thinner line. So on the inside, so that way. Okay, so I'm going to line it up so that it's about 5/16 of an inch from the edge. And then you want to just cut up to about 5/16 from the edge again. It gets a little scary as you get closer to the top. What I'm looking at is there's this line here, and that's my guide. So I don't want to go beyond that thin gold line. Just kind of get as close as you feel comfortable to it. And then I'm rotating. I'm going to do the same, about 5/16. This time I see that cut line, so I can go right up to it. And then down. And then I'm going to rotate again. This one is a little bit trickier, so you just want to kind of eyeball. And then you can measure this side too. So this side, the top side is 5/16 as well. Okay, and then if you have any corners that maybe didn't match, you can just take a pair of paper snips and just gently trim until it releases. Like that. Okay, so now we've got this opening in our card base. We're going to cover that with a piece of black cardstock. And I've cut this cardstock to be 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, which is about the size of that thin gold piece. So we're kind of covering up that thin gold line right there. I'm going to attach the black cardstock with some liquid glue, and I'm going to just run it right along the outside edge. I've got my silicone craft sheet right underneath where I'm working. And that's just going to protect my work surface, as well as if I get any glue, it's really easy to pull off rather than attaching everything to my grid paper, which is directly underneath where I'm working. I just want to add a very little bit of glue to that edge, all four sides. Then you're going to take your card base and add the black cardstock inside and press. And that's going to cover up your opening. Now on the inside, if you don't like having the black showing, you can cover this up with some white cardstock. It doesn't matter to me that it shows, and so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as is. So for our next step, you're going to take this Sweet Sorbet die cut. You're going to remove the U for now. And then you're going to take it and use your paper trimmer and just cut right through the U. So right here in the middle of the O and U, I'm going to cut. It's sitting at, because this is not a totally straight line, it's sitting at around 1.5 inches, but it's kind of overlapping a little bit too. So just kind of eyeball where you want it to go. So just like that. This one is going to be the top layer, and then you're going to flip the top of the U actually is going to be the bottom layer, and we're going to just stack those on top of each other. Just be aware that you don't want this hole to show. So when you bring them over, make sure to cover up that hole right there. And this is just going to give us a really fun border for the bottom of our card. So you can see I have a little bit of glue sticking out. That's okay. I'm going to be covering that up with the other U there. You also see that I have some of the background layer showing. If you want to remove those, you can. You're just going to trim those right off so that you don't see them. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to see those. But there is that fun scallop right there. This is going to go over our U just like this. And but before we do that, we're going to actually fussy cut out our gold U. So I'm going to come and start on this side near the letter U, and I'm going to come down a little low. And the reason for that is because then I'm going to cover up that cut line with this cardstock layer here. And so if you come down low, then you're not going to see it on the card base. So then you're just going to do a nice tight fussy cut. So just like I said, this card's a little more involved. It has a lot more fussy cutting. And the tighter you get to the word, the more of the pattern you're going to see that we'll put behind it. So over here, it's really important that you do not cut the cardstock in half. So you do want to keep this piece all together. So do not cut through that side there. Just come right around, and then you'll do the bottom side of this word. All right, so before we add this, I am going to add the Sweet Sorbet gradient to the bottom first. One way you can do this is to cover up the fussy cut that you just did. The goal is to have it totally be hidden behind this other U, just like that. So you see how that covers up the hole that we just cut out. And then you're going to slide this one in underneath it. Actually, I'm going to do this on my silicone craft sheet. Then if I get any adhesive, it's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to add some adhesive here to the back of this. I'm going to use liquid glue because it gives me a chance to move things around. I'm just going to kind of eyeball where I think it will be. Maybe something like that. and then place this on top just to see if it covers. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down as well. So I'm going to try to keep it to the edge because that's where the glue is. But if I don't, I mean, it's okay because it's going to go on my black cardstock and it's not popped up or anything. So okay. So I'm just going to pop that back in and add that right there. So that's going to hold that piece together. Then I'm going to trim it, and you can trim it with your paper scissors or you can do your paper trimmer. Just trim it right along the edge so that everything is the same size. It is a little thick, so paper snips are really good for that. So now I'm going to add this to my card base. And there should be a nice little border all the way around because we did cut it a little bit bigger than that gold piece, or a little smaller, and the black is the same size as the gold. So then if you want, you can smooth everything out with your bone folder on the inside so nothing catches and bends and breaks. Okay, so this is where we are right now. We may want to try to pull up some of these so we can tuck some flowers underneath, but everything looks really good. Okay, so we've got our fussy cut flowers and we're now ready to add them to our card. So I do like having the lighter, larger flower a little bit further away from the dark ones. Then the medium one, I'm going to kind of tuck underneath this one just a little bit to give some fun layers. Add the dark leaf near the top and then the bottom leaf here near the bottom. Just like that. And I'm going to do a combination of dimensionals and regular adhesive, and that's just going to give me an opportunity to get some nice dimension into my card, but also keep things so that they're not too many layers and it doesn't get too thick. So I've just got one dimensional and a little bit of adhesive, and the adhesive side goes down and the dimensional side gets popped up. This leaf is just going to go straight down onto the card. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. So now I'm going to add back our gold U, and this is just going to get added with a little bit of glue. So just keep it nice and thin so it doesn't come out when you add it to your card. And it just goes right in the center, pretty much in the exact spot that we cut it out. But now it's layered on top of this background piece that has the color to it, which I think is so pretty. And we're going to put it right over that leaf there. See how pretty all those layers look together? And I do love this fun border and how you get that double design right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my greeting, and I've got Can Do Anything, which goes with You Can Do Anything. And I'm going to add that right underneath that gold strip. That looks a little crooked. I'm just going to lift up this side just slightly, and try to get that angle right. There we go. And I did pop that up with dimensionals. And then just to add a little more touch of gold, I'm bringing in these brushed brass butterflies. And I love these, and they are so delicate and look great with this card and the extra flowers that we've added. So I'm going to take a couple big ones, put them down by the greeting, and then maybe a small one up on top of one of the flowers. And that card is all done. Well, it's been really fun to make these 2 cards with you today. I hope you enjoyed seeing how you can incorporate another stamp set into your paper pumpkin alternative projects. If you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images of these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you'd like to subscribe to get your own paper pumpkin kit, please use the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.